Okay, what we have here is my Mosquito Magnet Independence. It worked great for 2 seasons, sucked up thousands of mosquitoes, but this year it's, running sporadically and not catching anything, so it's out of warranty at this point, and rather than paying a lot of money to have someone look at it, let's tear it down and clean it up and see if we can get it running again. That may be part of the problem. Full of ants. Let's clean that up. I think I got most of the ants out. Get the screws loose. You're going to want to take the valve assembly apart back here. And then it should come apart. I guess I'll have to cut that off. Okay, you can already see there's a lot of corrosion in there, and we're going to want to up along here. Quite messy in there. Just try and pull this apart and separate it and clean it up. Okay, to remove this out, it just lifts up, but we got a few wires to unhook. Separate that. You want to unplug this from the board, and then you have to cut loose a zip tie. Then there's one screw that's grounded or tied in over here with the spade. One more over here. Now there's also wires to the gas valve, but you can leave that together. Just loosen up this set screw, and then pull the whole valve out. And now you have the burner and all this separate. Okay, first part, you want to take this air shroud off. Just need to finish removing the set screw. Hopefully you don't drop it. And then we need to take this lock off. You should just be able to take a screwdriver, twist it at the bottom. That'll open it up a little bit. Now that pulls right off. And now we're going to want to separate this heat sink, which is this big bolt up here. I gotta get a wrench. This was a bit tight at first, but what I found, if you could brace against this outlet here and push, that'll break it loose easier. Alright. Turn it upside down, you get this little piece out. Now this should be able to slide off. And now the heat sink comes off. Heat shield. These all have Torx bits, so I gotta find the right bit real quick. Okay, so these are T20s. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate these two halves, get a wire brush and just kind of clean this out. It's kind of dirty, but the passages still look pretty well open, so it's probably not affecting anything, but since I got it out, I'm going to go ahead and separate it and clean it up. Alright, let's get this cleaned up. Okay, I have a grinder for wire wheel, but certainly just a wire brush or whatever you have will take care of it. That's why I wear gloves. Okay, still a little bit in there. I need to clean up by hand, but you can see nice and smooth and clean now. Looking for, you want to make sure we can get the best airflow possible. So anyway, clean up the other side now. I don't have any wire brushes handy, so I'm just going to use a abrasive pad. Try and clean that up a little. Last little pieces that my grinder couldn't get into. Okay, pretty good. Let's put it back together. Alright. As long as we have this off, I'm just going to blow a little air through here, try and clean this up a little. Bunch of buildup down here, try and rake that off. The air code I was getting was actually insufficient gas flow, and I got that with 2 different tanks. I've run several quick clear cartridges through there. I had a similar problem with my Liberty, my old Liberty. I took it apart the other day. It's similar, but a lot less complex actually than this. What the problem with it was that this nozzle is actually very plugged up. This one looks pretty clean, but I'm going to separate the nozzle here and run some carbon choke cleaner through it and make sure that it's clean and ready to go. So I think that's probably the main problem. Cleaning this out is just, since I'm in here and you know, might as well do it so we have good airflow through there and can suck up as many mosquitoes as we can. So let's get this separated. These things are put together very tight. Just gotta get a couple wrenches and do it right. Much better. Yeah. See, this is all black. That was the problem with my other one. It's just, I think it's just full of whatever pollutants from the propane. You hit that with some carb cleaner. Soak this up for a little bit, and we'll reinstall it. You'll see the cleaner go straight in there, be soaked up. And hit the front of the nozzle too. You see, you're getting some junk off of that. And you can see this is starting to turn into kind of a brassy color as the carbon or whatever that is comes off. So we'll let that soak for a while we put the rest of it back together. And I have, this paper towel is pretty soaked with carb cleaner. I'm just going to leave that nozzle right up against there to let it soak it in a little bit. If your fan ever goes, you can see it's just a big computer fan. You can certainly buy a new replacement from anywhere online, and you wouldn't have to take it to a dealer to replace that. You know, as you saw, that whole burner unit just lifts out, so you wouldn't have to take it apart. You just disconnect those wires, pull that out, and you got full access to that. Okay, so now let's put this back together. There's this wire here. Assume it's a temperature sensor in that base. Just make sure that the nozzle end goes towards that. Set this on. Get your heat shield, or your insulation rather. Feed the starter wire through it. Make sure the wire for that thermal sensor runs in there nicely. Alright, now I can slide this bracket on. Alright, I can put the probe piece. So you got that spring in there. Now I can slide this on. Get your metal clip. The little tabs should be bent out. Just go ahead and slide that back on. Probably want to give it a little help seating it with a screwdriver, pushing right behind those tabs. This thing pushed down. Alright. Now we have this assembly put back together. Let's go ahead and get this one ground screw out, or attached while I have this out. Back this off a little more. Of course I did it too much. Okay, because I wasn't really paying attention, I guess, this goes on the other way, so that the flat side, the nozzle should point away from the flat side of the burner area. So, in other words, when it's sitting like this, the end should be up like it was when I took it apart in the first place. Let me fix that. Okay. When you go put everything back together, make sure you have the green gasket in place. Take your radiator, whatever you want to call it, piece. I got one screw started. You just have open ends, so I'm just going to slide this one side over the screw. Slide this into place in the plastic. And get everything lined up. Start the other screw. You want to make sure this is loose so that the combustion unit can be drawn forward to mate with the piece I'm putting on now. Keep an eye out on this black wire over here, make sure it's not getting pinched. Take a look around, make sure everything looks like it's spaced well. go. Alright, now we're back to our nozzle here. I actually did with my other unit. It's just install everything together and give it a test fire outside of the unit. I think we'll do that again since this is fairly simplistic. Tighten this up. My workbench is too messy and dark to see, or otherwise I'd be working on a workbench instead of this. Okay, just got that snugged in. Let me grab a propane tank and we'll try a test fire, see if this thing actually works. Okay, got the propane tank hooked up, the jet facing out here. So we're going to see if we can get a flame off of this and go ahead and start up the unit. It's going to be a waiting game until it turns on the propane. Wait till you hear a ticking noise and then you can try and light it. It's probably not the best idea, but this is how I'm testing it. Okay, it's ticking. I'm going to try and light it. There we go. Getting a little bit of gas, but it's not supporting its own burning. It's probably still airing all the carb cleaner out of there. I should get a good flame on this. Oh, it's almost there. It is burning on its own now. I don't think that's even visible. Alright, this doesn't seem to be quite clear yet. We're going to take it apart and clean it up a bit more. Okay, we're back. Letting it warm up. Let's see if it works better this time. Okay. Starting to get some flame off of this. Looks a little better this time. You see now, it's got a good flame coming off of it. I think it's really not burning now because it's out of the chamber. So at this point I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. My Liberty would burn outside, but it seems to have good gas flow here. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back together and see if it works for real. Okay, I got the nozzle plugged back in, and let's see if this will warm up. And it's green. Let's put it back together and we are done. Okay, it cooled down. So first off, let's re-secure this again since it was strapped up. Just feed this. it's going to be hard to tell, but this green trumpet, there's a groove that it has to slip down on top of the metal heat exchanger or trumpet piece that's in there. So just make sure you get all that lined up. And everything should just sort of snap together. Go ahead, put this back together. One thing, don't forget, like I almost did, to put that set screw back in on the gas valve. Alright, let's put this together. Last piece. And it is done. Let's put it back on the stand and we are all set.